Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer. Let's talk about that Super Bowl commercial. What's up, my fellow actors? Welcome to the Acting Career Center, here to help you learn the skills you need to break into the film and television industry. My name is Kurt Yu. Thank you so much for spending some time here with me today. If it's your first time here, make sure to hit that subscribe button to get more videos on acting, auditioning, and career advice. Also, if you have not downloaded my free 10-step audition preparation guide yet, you can get it from that link right up there. All right, let's get into it today. We're going to talk about that Super Bowl commercial that many of you reached out to me about. Thank you so much for sending me all those comments. I saw a lot of them. I wish I could reply to everybody, but there are just so many. So I do want to say my appreciation for that. Just really quickly, yesterday while I was watching the game, I have Xfinity or Comcast as my cable provider, and I don't have my TV directly plugged into the cable. I use the Xfinity streaming app to watch live TV. And so here I am watching the game, and the streaming app has a little bit of a delay. It's not that long, it's a few seconds though. And so I'm watching the game around 8 o'clock, my phone starts buzzing like crazy, and I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? Did somebody die or something? And by the time I reached for my phone, and I hadn't even opened up the messages yet, the streaming had now caught up to, the live TV, and the commercial came on. So I knew what was going on by that point. But my phone really just started blowing up, and I got messages all over social media and my email and all kinds of stuff. So thank you to all my family and friends who reached out, and then also thank you to all of you who are watching my YouTube channel. My last YouTube video all of a sudden got flooded with comments about the Super Bowl commercial. So let's talk about it today. I want to talk about, number one, what my experience was like auditioning for it, and then the callback, and then what it was like filming it. And then also I want to talk a little bit about like what's a big takeaway from everything that I learned, and what can you guys kind of take away from it. So let's get right into it. Okay, the first thing I want to mention is that there's been a little bit of confusion about this commercial. I don't think a lot of people realize that it's actually a continuation of the earlier commercial with Peyton Manning. So I think early in the first quarter, you saw Peyton Manning at a bowling alley, and he was like giving a nod to Jimmy Butler and Alex Morgan, and then at the end, Serena Williams like struts in like a boss, right? You remember that commercial? It was like a minute long. It was really cool, and it was also for Michelob. And in that commercial, Peyton Manning gives a nod to Brooks Koepka, who is shooting pool over in the corner of the bowling alley. And so the commercial that I'm in, Brooks Koepka walks over basically from shooting pool. He's wearing the same clothes, so you realize that it's kind of a continuation, and it's the bowling alley in the background, but it's kind of blurred out. So some people didn't realize that. Anyway, the idea of the commercial is that Brooks, if you don't know who he is, he's a professional golfer, a pretty famous professional golfer if you watch golf. And the idea of the commercial is that he brings his caddy everywhere to ask him for advice. So in this case, I play his caddy, and he's walking up to the bar, and he's asking my advice for what he should order. And I say, let's get Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer. So that's kind of the joke of the commercial. So let's talk about how I auditioned for it and what that whole process was like. My original audition for this was back in early December. In fact, if you remember, I had a video about hotel room auditions back in early December, and in that video, I was actually auditioning for this commercial. So here was the audition that I taped in my hotel room for this Michelob commercial.
All right, let's go with Michelob Ultra's Organic Seltzer. It's made with real fruit juice.
Really?
Yeah, really. It's USDA certified organic.
So obviously it was a self-tape, and I shot it and edited it while I was in my hotel room and uploaded it. Now, the one thing I'll say is that when I first got the audition, I had no idea it was going to be a Super Bowl commercial. There was nothing in the audition that said anything about Super Bowl. So once I uploaded that commercial, I waited about 2 days, and my agent sent me an email and said that, hey, you got a callback, and it's gonna be on Zoom. So I did my Zoom callback. By this time, I had come back home, so I did that here at home, in fact, in this room. If you've seen my other videos about self-taping, I've done a kind of a 360 tour of this room. I did that callback in this room on Zoom with the casting director and the director. So the casting director, Kelly, she runs Kelly Casting, ran a really smooth callback session, and then the director, Rachel, was on the callback, and basically I did the same thing as my initial audition. She gave me a couple of redirects, and did what she asked for, and then that was it. It was really super simple, and she said thank you, I said thank you, and then we were done. It was maybe 3 days after that callback that I got an email from my agent that said you're booked. So it all went pretty quickly, right? From the original audition, it was 2 days after that that I got the callback, and then 3 days after that that I was booked. So all happened kind of within a week. So it was all pretty quick. It was, like I said, in early December. Fun fact, I got that email that I was booked the day before my birthday, so it was kind of an early birthday present for myself. And I want to mention again that even after I booked it, this whole time, I still had no idea that it was a Super Bowl commercial. Nobody said anything about that. So we ended up shooting the commercial about, I think, 2 weeks-ish after the booking. So in that 2-week span, I had a bunch of COVID tests, and then we did a couple fittings, wardrobe fittings, and again, all the way up until even the day of the shoot, I had no idea it was a Super Bowl commercial. And this commercial was shot over the course of 4 days, and because all of it was shot in that same bowling alley. It was shot in Griffin, Georgia, which is down in about an hour-ish south of Atlanta, and we shot in an actual bowling alley. And they spent, I think, the first 3 days filming that first commercial with Peyton Manning and Serena Williams and all those people. And because that was a much longer spot, right? And it was a lot more complicated of a commercial to film. And they had all those celebrities coming in to film their parts. So they filmed that spot over the first 3 days. And then the fourth day was when they filmed my spot with Brooks. Really, Brooks's commercial with me. Well, let's just say my spot. It was my commercial and Brooks was in it. So we filmed that on the fourth day, and it wasn't until I was on set and we were already in the middle of kind of filming it that somebody mentioned the Super Bowl. And that's when I started thinking about it. I was like, is this a Super Bowl commercial? No, it's not a Super Bowl commercial. Come on, there's no way this is a Super Bowl commercial. And then I heard some other people say something, and then I noticed on some of the documents that you saw in the beginning of the commercial, they show the outside of the bowling alley, right? And you see the sign that says Superior Bowl. This is kind of the pun on Super Bowl. And I noticed that on one of the documents it said Superior Bowl, and that this bowling alley was going to be called Superior Bowl. And then finally, super slow, finally, I was like, oh my God, this is a Super Bowl commercial. I think everybody realized it before I did. But anyway, the point is, nobody said anything about it until I was actually on set. Nobody mentioned anything about the Super Bowl. So I had no idea until we were halfway through filming the actual commercial. Filming the commercial itself was really fun. Like I said, it was in a real bowling alley down in Griffin, Georgia. I actually knew a couple of the crew members from working with them on past projects. And also my friend Israel Vaughn, who's another actor here in Atlanta, was there as well. I was really excited to see him on the call sheet the night before. He's in another one of the spots, another follow-up spot. I'll put the link to his commercial down in the description if you want to check that one out. But my day on set was really cool. Brooks was really cool to work with. The director, Rachel, she was really nice. And one thing that I thought was interesting was they actually filmed this commercial on film, like actual film. Most things these days are digital now. This was the first time I think I've ever been on set where they were using film. So you saw the big old film cameras that have the reels. I've never seen that before. I don't know if those of you that are movie buffs or like actual, like have an eye for this stuff, if you can tell that it was on film rather than digital. Otherwise, it was a pretty straightforward shoot. I think it was maybe 4 or 5 hours total for me on set. They started off with a 2-shot of the both of us, and then a close-up of Brooks, and then a close-up of me, and then a close-up of the product, and that was kind of it. I think, like I said, I was only there for about half a day, and then, peace out, got to go home. So we just waited like 2 months, and then it was on TV. One thing I will say, I didn't tell anybody about this. I didn't tell any of my friends. I didn't tell any of my family. And the reason I didn't tell anybody was partially from my own personal experience of hearing someone else tell me that they were in something that I was already going to see, and I was kind of bummed about that. So a few years ago, I had a friend who was in Avengers Endgame, and a couple days before the movie came out, he actually posted on social media. He wrote, "Hey, I'm gonna be in Avengers Endgame. Look for me in the movie." And I was like, "No, why did you tell me? I wanted to be in the theater and be surprised. I wanted to do the Leonardo DiCaprio point and said, 'Oh my God, there's Michael,' right?" But I didn't get the chance to do that because he kind of spoiled it. I guess you could call it a spoiler. He spoiled it for himself by telling everybody that he was going to be in it. So I decided I'm just going to shut up about this and not say anything and let everybody else experience what I wanted to experience with my friend Michael. Because look, anytime I'm watching something and I see one of my friends, I definitely jump up and do the Leonardo DiCaprio point. And I think that's the coolest feeling, to be surprised by that. And I definitely think that I surprised a lot of people because, like I said, I got so many messages and a lot of you that commented on my YouTube channel. That was really cool. All right, now let's talk about what the big takeaway is from this whole experience of working on this Super Bowl commercial. I think it's that you never know exactly what you're auditioning for, so always do your best because it could turn into something big, such as a Super Bowl commercial. This really ties into a video that I'm going to be making later on because I get a lot of questions about how do you audition for Netflix, or how do you audition for Marvel, or how do I audition for a Super Bowl commercial? And my short answer to that, and like I said, this is going to be a full video later on, but my short answer to that is don't be so narrowly focused on, I just want to audition for Netflix or Marvel or Disney or something like that, because you don't know what maybe some other small project that isn't currently associated with Netflix that you may be looking down upon, maybe that will end up on Netflix later on. So don't only focus on the one thing. Open yourself up to all potential opportunities. A great example of this is Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai, when it first started in season 1, first of all, nobody knew what it was. Second, it definitely wasn't on Netflix yet. Netflix acquired Cobra Kai after 2 seasons. And then by season 3, that's when it finally made it to Netflix. Now, had I only been trying to audition for Netflix at the time, I would never have auditioned for Cobra Kai because it was on its own platform. It was on YouTube Red, which currently doesn't exist anymore. But the point is that we should definitely try to audition for everything because you don't know what could potentially become a big project later on. If you only focus on like Netflix or Marvel, you don't know what little project today may become bigger than Marvel 10 years from now. At this point, we can't really imagine that because Marvel is the biggest thing ever, but maybe 10 years from now, there is something that exists today that nobody really knows about that will become even bigger. So the whole point here is just open yourself up to all opportunities because they could end up being the next Netflix hit, the next big Marvel project, or it could become a Super Bowl commercial. Anyway, so that's it for this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. And until next time, keep practicing, keep learning, and I hope to see you on set one day.